Live from the BBC, Swedish police say around 10 people have been killed in a school campus shooting. Really? Really? You do surprise me. Because it's Tuesday, and I didn't just do 2 live streams this weekend, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, and in both of them mentioned the fact that only a week ago it was reported that Sweden, which used to be the safest country in Europe, if not the entire world, had to endure 30 grenade attacks and explosions in January 2025. Yeah, 30. That's nearly one a day. It's basically Baghdad levels of explosions. And then I wake up today, turn the news on, Swedish school campus shooting. I never saw that coming 50 miles away, did you? The BBC, of course, is quick to tell us that there is definitely no link to errorism. I don't even know if you can say that word on this platform. But the thing is, they told us that there was definitely no link to errorism when Mr. Rudu Kanubu made ricing, read the AQ training manual, and then started shouting loudly about his favourite snack bar before bringing wanton slaughter to a Taylor Swift dance class. So I'm going to be a little bit sceptical, alright? Just a wee bit. Now you might call me a brave man for putting it on the line there, just making a prediction, but who cares? It's not brave. It's because I've got functioning eyeballs and an IQ in 3 digits. Something that the political class all across Europe, and up until very recently, even in the United States, can't muster between any of them. So we'll go through the news, we'll read a bunch of pointless trite observations from the BBC where they'll tell us at great length about, the floral arrangements outside the school, or the particular hue of the brickwork that they used, and then they'll tell us absolutely nothing about the perpetrator because we all know what he's going to look like, don't we? Okay, this is still coming in. It wasn't too long ago. Swedish police said that at least 10 people have been killed and the perpetrator is among the dead. What? It looks like the attacker might have ended their own life while perpetrating the attack. Really? Yeah, weird that, because when Lord Anders did his attack, he seems to have been more than happy to, settle down in a nice cell in a cushy prison in Oslo with an Xbox and a treadmill and no doubt a full fridge. He seems to be ticking over quite nicely. So it's a bit weird that the governments of Europe have been telling us for the last 10 years that the real threat is from white nationalists. Definitely. Even if you made a little chart with all of the victims of white nationalists on one side and all of the victims of theocratic fascists that hail from where the epileptic pot-bellied midget hailed from before he plagiarised the Bible, if you were to bifurcate them by death count, I think you'd find that the death count perpetuated by the regulars at Allen's would be in 4 figures. We're in the thousands at this point. I mean, think about it. If you just include 4 or 5 big ones, the Madrid train bombing, the Beslan school massacre, Charlie Hebdo, the Bataclan, 7/7, Manchester Evening News Arena and Southport, well, you'll be in the thousands there. And it's weird. Other than Anders, I can't really think of any. Can you think of another good one? Oh yeah, some guy beheaded 2 homosexual men in Reading, didn't he? That must have been some horrible pasty ginger from Aberdeen or something, right? Oh no. No, it was Kevin Smith. Yeah. Well. Weird how they're always going on about white nationalism when the death toll appears to be infinitesimally smaller than fellas who look like Kevin there. Still, I'm sure it's not part of some evil, Machiavellian, malevolent, globalist death cult, and it's perfectly reasonable to focus on the tiny number and not the very, very big number. Yeah, let's get back to the news, shall we? It's great to see that, as usual, the BBC is focusing on the important points like students and staff were kept inside buildings. Yeah, definitely a good place to stay inside them. Police warn people to stay away from the area. Yeah, weird that, isn't it? I'm glad they're focusing on these important details, because when I hear gunshots in random schools, the first thing I think is, that's where I want to hang out today. Yeah, unarmed and unarmoured. Yeah, I want to just, pop on down there with my slippers and my dressing gown on and partake in a pleasant morning watching a raving lunatic from somewhere sandy slaughtering people with abandon while the government does nothing about it. In fact, no, the government doesn't just do nothing about it. At this point, The leaders of the EU might as well have polished his gun for him. In fact, Guy Verhofstadt assembled it for him, Ursula von der Scheiser loaded his magazines, and Keir Starmer paid for his taxi. Oh yeah, and obviously, this is the important bit, thoughts and prayers at the bottom. Thoughts and prayers. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson, very painful, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. Okay, so keep thinking and keep praying while doing less than nout about it. A horrible incident, a nightmare. Roberto Forrest described it as horrible, exceptional, a nightmare. You know what, I'm not going to read any more of it. This is just going to be adjectives. Awful, terrible, nightmare, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. They're not going to discuss anything of note, which is, for the last 10 years, sensible people across Europe, in the entirety of the Western world, have been talking about this, saying that we're soft on crime, soft on the borders, weak, spineless, cringing, pathetic. There's some adjectives we can use. Oh yeah, and I'll sum up with a story from the UK. And you know why I'm summing up with a story from the UK? Because the BBC love the fact that now they don't have to talk about it anymore. Look, on the BBC homepage now, not a sign of it. It's all about Sweden, adjectives about Sweden. And then Beijing, and then some actors, and then a crash in DC and slagging off Trump. Nothing about a quite pressing story from the last 24 hours though, is there? Stabbed teens' family say our hearts are broken. The family of a 15-year-old boy stabbed to death at school have spoken of their heartbreak. Harvey Wilgoose died following an incident at All Saints Catholic High School in Sheffield on Monday. A 15-year-old was arrested on suspicion of murder, and that is all you're going to get out of them. So to sum up, the same thing is happening all across the continent, all across the Western world, other than the nation now headed by the orange oracle sat atop his golden throne, championing humanity against the forces of chaos. Alright, it's going to keep on happening until people snap out of this malaise and aggressively demand that the woke dogs that run the nations of Europe get a grip on the borders and crime. They're probably the two biggest issues that any normal working class voter has been talking about for the last 10 years, and it's fell on deaf ears because our leaders are more concerned about musicals, transgender musicals in Ireland, or setting up girl bands in Africa, or some such drivel, while women and kids and young men get slaughtered like wild animals by raving lunatics, unvetted, hairy-arsed criminal men who've been moving to Western Europe with gleeful abandon because they know we're a soft touch. But that's just what I think. If you're sat at home discussing things over the kitchen table with your family and not one of you is even remotely bothered about the fact that you might get your life ended prematurely by a low IQ career criminal imported from the third world, please let me know. Let me know what's really bothering you these days, okay? That's me for the day. I wish I could say we didn't see this coming, but it's a daily occurrence now. I'm almost sick of talking about it. We saw that Swedish killing staggering drunkenly over the hill 50 miles away like a T-Rex covered in fairy lights. You don't even have to be intelligent to see these things coming now. You just have to have the reading comprehension skills of an 8-year-old. But no one cares because they're all mental. Okay? Brilliant. Moving on from yesterday's video, do you feel like you're winning? Sweden? Are any Swedes in the room? Do you feel like you're winning? Because it doesn't look like that to me. Alright, see you tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.